I currently owe $12,000 in rent because we just went into a new month. I did answer the eviction today and I went down there and got a court date. They said that all court dates are given within 7 days of you answering the letter. I hope I was going to have a longer time than that, but I don't. So my court date is on September 9th, and when I go to court, the judge is going to give me 7 days to vacate the property, y'all. So I'm back
How do you
again
know that?
asking for any help if possible. At this point, I am definitely downgrading. The rent here is way too much. I have someone who is willing to put a place in their name for me so that way I can get a cheaper rent. So my max budget is 2,000. I'm not trying to go anything over 2,000 because I'm trying to keep it where the rent there.
How much are you paying right now? How much are you paying right now? Because so you can afford 2,000. What are you paying right now? Hold on, man. She's throwing a lot at us. She is throwing a lot at us. I can't even keep up. It's self-inflicted wound overload. So hold on. We got to dissect this for a second because that was a lot. That was a lot. And we just getting started.
I currently owe 12,000 in rent because we just went into a new month. I did answer the eviction today and I went down there.
What does that mean? I owe 12,000 in rent because we just went into a new month. That's not a good explanation. What do you mean you owe 12,000 in rent because we just went in a new month? Ma'am, you owe 12,000 in rent, most likely because you haven't been paying rent for a long time, not because we just went into a new month. So we need to establish that right off the bat. Just be clear, concise, and honest. That's not why you owe 12,000 in rent. And then you see it's got the GoFundMe in the bio. So it looks like this is going to be a begging campaign. I need to know the context before we just come on here begging. She's going to fully flush it out, I believe. This video is pretty detailed. And by detailed, I just mean it's long for a TikTok video. So hopefully she's going to give us the context of why she's in this position and why anybody else should rescue her from the position. Before we get back into it though, y'all, if you could like the video, greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And it's just a click. So if you're here anyway, you might as well click that like button. And also if you can hype the video as well.
Went into a new month. I did answer the eviction today and I went down there and got a court date. They said that all court dates are given within 7 days of you answering the letter. I hope I was going to have a longer time than that, but I don't.
I hope I was going to have longer time than that. How much time do you need? You owe 12,000 in rent. I would have to think that's at least 6 months of you not paying a dime. And it's like, I hope I have more time than that. Ma'am, you haven't been paying rent for months at least. How much more time do you think you get? The more time you get, the more time somebody else has to suffer through you. And by suffer through you, I mean have you in their property and they not be able to actually recoup on their own property. Imagine you have something and you can't even capitalize on it, and you got somebody else capitalizing on it in the form of them just living for free. You can't even capitalize on the thing that you worked your butt off to be able to secure. That's incredible. And then you thought you was going to get more time?
That all court dates are given within 7 days of you answering the letter. I hope I was going to have a longer time than that, but I don't. So my court date is on September 9th, and when I go to court, the judge is going to give me 7 days to vacate the property, y'all. So I'm back again asking for any help if possible. At this point, I am definitely downgrading. I am definitely downgrading. The rent here is way too much. I have someone who is willing to put
How
a
much is it?
place in their name for me so that way I can get a cheaper rent. So my budget.
She has somebody that's willing to put a place. See, she was throwing so much at me. I missed that on the first go round. She has somebody willing to put a place in their name on her behalf. Do you think that she's going to cherish that and honor that and make sure to preserve that because she knows that somebody took a leap of faith for her? Do you think that she's going to make sure that she minds her P's and Q's down to the T to make sure that she already puts wounds on herself, it appears. Do we think that she's going to go the extra step and make sure that it is an impossibility to harm this other person's reputation, who without them, she would have had no other options, and that's probably why they helped her out to begin with? Or do you think it's a good chance that it could probably be a similar situation? Here's the thing. How are you doing things on other people's behalf, putting your reputation on the line for other people, and they don't even value their own reputation? What makes you think if somebody doesn't even care about their own reputation, their own credit, their own tenant history, that they're going to care anything about yours, and they're not just going to look at it as another stepping stone to ultimately leverage for the moment and then mess that up and then need something else?
Place in their name for me so that way I can get a cheaper rent. So my max budget is 2,000. I'm not trying to go anything over 2,000 because I'm trying to keep it where the rent there and all of the utility bills will be less than what it is here right now.
What is it?
And I think I may have found something in the same school district as the girls. So I am still raising funds to help out, y'all. I do have a GoFundMe. At first, it was for 20,000, and then I dropped it to 15,000. I just went in and I just dropped it to 10,000 because with me having someone who was willing to put a place in their name for me.
It was for what? You see how these be? I'm starting to go crazy hearing some of these stories. She got me moving from anger to humor, like I'm psycho or something. Because that, at first, it pissed me off to even hear that she first put her GoFundMe at $20,000, and then as I continued to process this, it then became humorous, and it was almost laughable. Ma'am, you must be out your mind. She didn't even believe it. She's just throwing ish at the wall, seeing if it was gonna stick. That's why she dropped it so fast. And then you still didn't drop it enough. First, she started with her GoFundMe with a goal of $20,000 to try to raise. Funny enough, you owe these people $12,000. Do you think that she was gonna, even if she'd have raised $20,000, do you think she'd have been like, well, let me pay off my debt of this $12,000, make things right over here, and this then move on along with my $8,000? No, she would have made that $20,000 and she'd have just kept it pushing, and she'd have just kept it all. But then she tried to drop it down to $15,000. Still not understanding. And then she said, now where it stands, it's at $10,000 that she needs. You need $10,000 just like that. How entitled can you be where you think you about to raise $10,000 just like that over a situation that you put yourself in? Okay, you're giving all these details. I want to hear some details about you. Do you have a job? Are you trying to get a job? We know you have kids. What are we doing? What are we doing? Because this just ain't it.
funds to help out, y'all. I do have a GoFundMe. At first, it was for 20,000, and then I dropped it to 15,000. I just went in and I just dropped it to 10,000 because with me having someone who was willing to put a place in their name for me, I won't need nearly as much, thank God. And I'll be able to find something more cheaper, which is the goal, because rent here is just overwhelming. It's overwhelming. When you add in all my bills and just my bills, we're not even going to talk about what my kids need and food and all that extra stuff. It comes out to over $3,000 a month, closer to four, considering that my rent went up because I had an old balance that he added on to the last few months. So now I'm at 2,800 a month.
You had an old. Oh my gosh, man. Y'all are so frustrating. Just your thought process. This is so frustrating. She talking about my rent went up because he had an old balance that he added on. Ma'am, you didn't pay something, you still owe it. Do you think just because a new month comes, it clears everything from the previous month if you don't pay it? He didn't add anything on. That's what you still owe. That's called prorate. Now, listen, I lost my train of thought because I got emotional. I try to keep it pretty logical, keep even kill, but this is kind of frustrating. So I lost my train of thought. So I have to go back because there was something else I wanted to address.
Closer to four, considering that my rent went up because I had an old balance that he added on to the last few
Whatever. We'll
months.
just
So
move
now
on.
I'm at 2,800 a month. The place that I'm currently looking at with rent and all of my utilities, it should be right at 2,500 a month with all bills included. So that is going to be cheaper than what the rent is here, y'all. So I'm super excited, but I do need help moving. And another thing, I've been applying for work from home jobs. I haven't found one yet. And at this point, I got to hurry up and get moved so that way I can work when I do find one. And I'm also about to sign with a TikTok shop agency, one of the number one TikTok shop agencies. So that is going to help out so much more as well because they're going to be
Oh. Oh. This is just getting insidious, man. This is just getting insidious. So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. So she wants to be a full-time content creator. That's her goal, to be a full-time content creator. And so she's not open to accepting regular jobs. She wants to have a remote job, probably because she just has a philosophy that because it's a remote job, she can get over on that as well and probably just really do her content and then do minimal amount of work. She feels like she's entitled to a remote job. What skills do you have? Why? No, you just need a job. You're 12,000 behind on your rent. And see, you know what's funny? When people are begging on their last leg, you're supposed to be open to anything. $5 should make an impact. $5 should be a blessing to where if somebody just gives that to you based off what you need, you're supposed to like be thanking them heavily. You don't have a job. You're not open to every job. But yet, when you come on here raising money, it's not like, shoot, let's raise $300. Shoot, that would get things started. I just need $300. Is it survival or not? You're trying to just completely solve the situation and be abundant at the same time. She put $20,000 as the initial amount that she's trying to raise. Where they do that at? Where you just raise $20,000 like that, just solve all your problems. I'm sure there's a lot of people who wish they could do that. There's people struggling with student loans, credit card debt, consumer debt, medical bills. Why don't everybody just do that when they got extreme bills that they got to take care of? No, what most people do is they just get to working more. You're not even working minimally. You're not even working the minimal amount, and you're not even open to the most conventional jobs. A remote job is like a needle in a haystack. And I doubt you have any much working history. What they finna put you in a remote job for? You don't even have a history of working probably, at least in the last few years. So you ain't trying to get a job. That's what it ultimately comes down to. You trying to be a full-time content creator.
Agency, one of the number one TikTok shop agencies. So that is going to help out so much more as well, because they're going to be running ads on my videos. And when I live stream, they'll boost my live streams. They'll make sure I get all the viral products and stuff. So I'm about to make it where my TikTok shop alone will pay the bills until I can find me a work from home job. And then when that work from home job pays all the bills, I can just save my TikTok shop money up to invest into my business. But y'all, this past year has been a doozy for me. And
Into my business. Into my business. People be talking about into my business like they're a boss, and they ain't even paying their rent. Everybody swears that they just get to become a boss overnight now in this new day and age. Everybody swear they a CEO, they a boss overnight, and be struggling with kids and bonnets.
up to invest into my business. But y'all, this past year has been a doozy for me, and I've definitely learned so much. Like last year on my birthday, which is September 25th, I spent that sleeping in the car with my kids because we had just lost my hotel room. And that's when I first went online asking for help, and my followers came through and helped me get an apartment. And I have not been able to bounce back yet, and it's been almost a year to the date. But after posting my story,
So you did this a year ago? You did this a year ago and you raised the money. So that's why. So now we see why she was so bold to come with the $20,000. She done did this before. She expected it to be wash, rinse, repeat this time because it's worked before. But so she done did this before because she said she hasn't been working for a year already. So within this year, in her last little campaign she did, she probably raised enough money to be able to sustain her throughout this period. Then it didn't. Then she just wasn't paying because she wasn't willing to get a job. So she done did this before. She was living in her car and jumping from hotel to hotel, and then people saved her. Do you see much urgency? Within that year, the only difference, most likely, is that now she's decided she is going to invest more in TikTok and do a TikTok shop business. So in that time that people gave you, where they gave you a safety blanket for you to be able to recover, you use that time instead to add to whatever you're doing on TikTok, and that's still not paying. And you're talking about you just now about to get some type of opportunity, which I doubt it, and you weren't getting a job. These are the way that people self-sabotage themselves and then make it everybody else's problem to have to come correct. If you raised enough money that it was floating you by for a duration of time, imagine if when she first raised that money and got put in this apartment and saved from sleeping in her car, imagine if she'd have got her job all the way back then. She would absolutely be on her way, and she would be able to continue to sustain herself. But she did nothing, and she just decided to be an online content creator. And this is what people be funding. They fund people to just do whatever they want to do and have fun and not do what they need to do for the responsibilities that they decided to take on. Ma'am, nobody told you to have kids, but you have them. So it's not everybody else's problem. You have to work. What person? What adult thinks they don't have to work, let alone an adult with kids think that they just don't have to work and they can just be on TikTok all day? Make it make sense.
Help, and my followers came through and helped me get an apartment. And I have not been able to bounce back yet, and it's been almost a year to the date. But after posting my story and what I've been going through, what I realized is it's this economy. This economy is just so bad right now because so many people are going through what I'm going through. So I don't feel ashamed of my story because I want to put it out there because it's so many people going through it. And I just want them to know that they are not alone. And any resources that I might come across, I'm going to pass those along as well. But y'all, most importantly, keep me in y'all's prayers, please, please. Okay, y'all, this is the GoFundMe. The current goal is 10,000.
Do you see what this says? The GoFundMe is labeled moving expenses and business inventory. Ma'am, you're about to be homeless. What you need inventory for? And by the way, inventory. You got people paying for your inventory? What type of business do you think you're trying to run, ma'am? Before you even start making any money from your business, you're already thinking of ways you can spend money. So she's trying to buy a whole bunch of inventory before she even knows that people are willing to buy it. You want to work a remote job and you want to be a TikTok creator, cool. At least these are avenues that can bring in money with low overhead. Now you talking about you want to add overhead. Why does your life consist of you adding overhead that you can't sustain? You barely even know where you're going to lay your head next and you trying to get inventory. Where are you going to house the inventory? You about to get evicted and they're going to come put out all your inventory. Inventory. People just taking on all this overhead. They don't even know what they're doing. That's the same way that you ended up with these kids. That's overhead, believe it or not. Kids are overhead. That is a direct expense that you now have to facilitate being able to preserve month over month until they turn a certain age. And now you about to take on more overhead. Instead of just doing the obvious thing, getting a job where there is no overhead and it's all profit.
I'm just trying to get up as much as possible. I need to get moving boxes and all that type of stuff. I got to get a truck. I'm going to have to switch all of my utilities over. But hopefully we get this place because, like I said, it is in the same school district as the girls are in right now. So any donations are greatly appreciated. Prayers are greatly, greatly appreciated. And also, please just share my content. When you see me post, whether it be a regular post like this or a shop product, please, y'all, repost my content. Comment on there. Like the content because it helps so much. It helps so much. Ever since I've been posting my story, my views have went up a lot. So I'm in the algorithm. I'm doing better. So it's helping. It is helping. But at the end of the day, I know God is an on-time God, and He's going to work this out for us and send us a blessing. And then once we get moved and settled, He's going to bless me and He's going to send me a good work-from-home job to be straight. So just keep us in your prayers, please.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You're not doing what you need to do. You need to, what in your mind just makes you think that it's work from home job or just continue staying in the hole? Ma'am, you need any job. You need any job. And you probably need to even explore some other options as far as other ways you can get ahead because listen, you got to live for free for over a year not working. Congratulations, you got a nice little break. Now you're about to have to do a lot of things at once that's going to be uncomfortable. Somebody in the comments even said, "Have you ever thought about getting a roommate?" It looks like she has at least 3 kids. So, I mean, she responded, she said, not while I'm so behind in bills. That wouldn't be fair to them. No, it wouldn't just be about the bills, ma'am. It would also be about the fact that it's for y'all, and it would only be one of them. But I digress. But, ma'am, you need to reassess what you think is possible. You think that this is only possible to turn around with a remote job and to $20,000 given to you. We've already explored this path before. You've already been given money and saved from a situation. It didn't help. You just didn't do anything for a year. So now it's time to do something different.
Please, y'all, please. I'm trying to work it out, and I'm down to the wire now. I got a week, and then when I go to court, I'll have a week from there. So I have less than 2 weeks, and I'm really trying to move as soon as possible and just be out of here, so that way I can get to work and start working on October rent. Okay, like I ain't playing no games today. I move in. I'm gonna start working on October rent and November rent because I want to make sure we good going through these holidays. But yeah, we about to downgrade because it's expensive rent. I just can't do it no more. My anxiety can't do it no more. And when I do get straight and I do
Even the rent that she said, even the rent that she said, $2,000 in rent. No, ma'am. Because somebody put in here, I hate how Georgia does evictions. So I'm guessing she's in Georgia. No, ma'am. You need to find a way to get you $1,100 rent. I told you, you have been not doing nothing for this whole time. So now you put yourself in a situation where it's going to have to be a lot of things happening at once. You don't get to just try one thing and hope that it solves everything. It won't. You're going to have to do multiple things at once in order to solve this, and also in order to preserve it so it doesn't get progressively worse.
start making a lot more money, I want to be comfortable. I don't want all of that money to go to a $3,000 rent. No. Only reason I took this place was because at the time it was the only option. But now we about to downgrade. I need something cheaper and I need y'all's help. So whether that be reposting, praying, or donating, I appreciate it and I love y'all. And I will be vlogging this whole experience. I'm about to pick up my camera right now and start vlogging. Like, cause it's another moving vlog. And when you're down bad like this and you're moving around, those views get good. That you get good views when you're down bad. I hate to say it, because when you're posting positivity and good stuff, you don't get the views like that. But when you're going through a struggle and you post that, you get the views. So I will be down. I will be documenting this, and the longer videos will be on my YouTube channel. But in order to help with donations, you can look in my bio. My GoFundMe is in my bio. I appreciate y'all. Let me stop because I'm.
Well, I'm glad she addressed that because I say that all the time. This type of content does extremely well for some reason. She said, for some reason, the views go up when you're down bad. Well, ma'am, why would you choose that as the subject matter that you're going to revolve your content around? Here's why. You basically have incentivized yourself to stay down bad if you want to have any success. What a paradox that is. You've incentivized yourself to have to stay down bad if you want to have any success. Ma'am, you're in a cycle that leads to nowhere. And it just keeps revolving, and you're just going to keep ending up in this situation cyclically. Ma'am, it's very clear what you need to do. And it's also clear what you need to not do as well. Don't have any more kids. Because you would think that that would be obvious, but it's actually not. And what you'll find a lot of times is people will end right back up with more kids, even though they're already in a situation where they can't sustain the kids that they already have. But check this out. Hold on. Check this out. If you couldn't tell, hold on. That video is actually from 2024. That video is actually from 2024. I just noticed now that I'm looking at her profile. So that's from 2024. But this from 2 days ago. Look at this. I'm trying to raise $400 for a new phone. So a year ago from that video in 2023, she was begging and they saved her. 2024, she's back begging. And now right here in 2026, 2 days ago, she's trying to raise $400 for a new phone. Look at this. TikTok live battles. This was 5 days ago. So she does TikTok beggar battles. So now we see that this was insidious. She is a full-time beggar, and that's what she wants to be. Before she even got a job, she's been begging for just about half a decade at least. At least, because we don't know the history before that. She probably was doing it before that. She still does it to this day. Again, the video we reviewed was from 2024. Look at this. Hold on.
And then I really been wanting to start battling. I swear I'm about to get on TikTok Live and start battling with Wardrobe and Yana. Everybody keeps asking me why I have not made content in a while. And the truth is, I have an iPhone 13 and that shit is fucked up. I need about $400 to upgrade my phone. And the only reason I need so much is because I owe Verizon like $200 and something dollars from a bill from a couple years ago. So basically, I've been sitting in the house depressed as fuck because I can't make my content like that. And then I really been wanting to start battling.
She been sitting in the house depressed because she can't make her content. How you sit in the house depressed? So now you can't even make content no more. So now that's not even an excuse anymore. And you still don't get a job. You're just going to sit in the house depressed. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? And then, I was scrolling her profile and I also came across this as well. And this is a little bit off subject, but I just find this very telling. Very telling. Look at this. Well, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's look at this. Look at this. I try to stay away from this type of stuff, but look at this. Okay, so I guess she's not talking, but it has this is what I saw. I just saw the writing. So that's what made me click it. It says, Sweet Treats by Ashley is MAGA. Yeah, I took back my follow so fast. We're not doing that. So you were following somebody that you liked their content, and you simply just found out that they had different political views than you. And all of a sudden, now you don't like them or their content anymore. And you took their stuff back so fast. And then you had to come and announce it to the world to also basically encourage other people to do it. And basically try to dirty Mac them and just slander them for something that shouldn't even be slanderable. And then you wonder why you can't get ahead in life. And this is what you do to other people. And this is how you try to come at other people. You have horrible intentions from that. It's very clear. The intentions is bad. And then you wonder why you keep getting the causes and effects that impact you. First of all, you know what I'm tired of seeing? When it comes to politics, that's not something that you can try to shame somebody or try to make it. First of all, right now, who's in office right now is Republican MAGA, right? So what does that mean? That means that more than half the US population who is interested in politics and who votes, more than half of the population voted for that. So that means that they are the majority. But yet somehow you've made it a way to where they have to hide their political support. But yet I've never seen Democrats not be able to say proudly. I even see companies now that say, we are strictly Democrat. If you have anything on your product or whatever, you can't work with us. But yet, more than half the population voted for that. And you got some people who will try to shame other people for their political interests, which is horrible. And you know what's funny too? I'm going to just be real. It's mostly women. It's mostly women who do that. And you know what's so ironic about it? The irony in it is that as women, you all didn't always have the right to vote. And y'all had to fight for that, right? Your right to vote. So someone who didn't have the right to vote, you would think would be more incentivized to preserve and not overstep on other people's rights to vote for whoever they want to vote for. But this is what we have been seeing a lot. It even gets so bad, you'll see people in dating or whatever who will say, if you voted for Orange, man, we don't got nothing to talk about. Or you've seen people in relationships who are in relationships, maybe even married, who either coerced their husband or actually divorced their husband because they didn't align with whatever it was that they politically decided to follow. And so I think that's crazy. The fact that people who actually had to get their own rights to be able to vote and do whatever they wanted to do are then now encroaching on other people's rights to vote for whoever they want to vote for when it's perfectly legal. And that's what this is for. That's people's rights. But y'all are trying to suppress people's rights if it doesn't align with what you align with. And that's crazy. And don't fall for it. Do what you do. And if you want to even express it, because that's your right as an American citizen. Y'all, we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels. So that's why. But if you come across my video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days. And hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So it's usually best practice if you want to hype to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot on a newer video. And then also if you want to become a member of the channel as well, the join button's on the video. And what becoming a member of the DXU family will come with is you would get badges next to your comments where it would show people that you are a member whenever you leave a comment, as well as you would get early access to content and also exclusive content that's not available for everyone else on YouTube. So again, if you want to become a member, join button's on the video. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.